Welcome back. Rush Limbaugh with half my brain tied behind my back just to make it... What? No. I do not think... No, don't be silly. No, I do not think Apple was purposely obsoleting old iPhones so that you would have to buy a new one. No. They don't have to do that to get people to buy new phones. That's not what they were doing. Well, maybe they were not screwing the batteries. They were trying to help people get the longest life they could out of the battery. Look, you know I'm an Apple fanboy, but I don't defend them when they screw up. I mean, I've got my own problems with them. But this, I don't think they were doing anything that was, planned obsolescence. Everybody thinks that about their cars, too. Everybody used to think the car in 3 years is going to wear out. You go to buy a new one, they build it in there. If you understand chemistry, and if you understand, and most people don't, if you understand lithium-ion batteries and how they work, and that we are at peak tech, there is nothing we can do to make them better. And there's nothing to replace them on the horizon yet. It's the one area of tech that there isn't any significant improvement left. They've got to change the entire concept of providing remote power. I'll explain in a minute. But no, there's... Do you think a lot of people think this? You think a lot of people think that Apple's problem is that they just are so damn secretive about things that they don't... I don't know what in the world they're afraid of by telling people how they're saving their batteries. And they're only doing this on phones that are a year and a half old. Do you know that every lithium-ion battery, I don't care if it's in your phone, by the way, it does matter. It's not a factor in your iPad battery, and it's not a big factor in your laptop battery because they're huge batteries. But when you're talking a battery that's under 3,000 milliamps, which is a 7 plus, 8 plus size in an iPhone 10, or 1,700 milliamps, which is the size of an iPhone 6 or 6S or 7 or 8, there's a charge cycle. There's a certain number of charges that battery will go through, and then it starts to deteriorate. There's a charge cycle is constituted by a full 100% charge of the battery. So if you're at 70% and you charge it back to 100, you've charged it 30%. And until you charge it another 70%, you haven't done a full recharge. And those are usually 200, 250. If you live in a cold area, that can wear the battery out. I mean, they wear out with usage. They do. They start wearing out from the moment you use them. And typical use, after a year, their capacity is down 20%. Brian knows all this. You think they're obsoleting the phones on purpose? See, for those of us here at the EIB network, it's not a factor because we get new ones every year. But some people don't. And Apple doesn't want them to have a bad experience. Well, you're using your phone, and all of a sudden it shuts down. Is that good? Okay, so to keep that from happening, Apple throttles the processor speed, slows down the processor so that it puts less of a load on the battery, and thereby keeps the phone operating. In many cases, your average consumer doesn't even know this is happening, is not even aware the phone has slowed down until it slows down a lot, which will happen in about a year and a half, depending on how much you charge it, use it, and where you live. But I can understand why people, since Apple doesn't tell anybody about this, I can see why people would think Apple would build this in to get people to buy new